Would you like to have your query letter critiqued, but you don't want to pay to have that happen? It can be done for free, but it will be public out here and on my socials. My name is Gina. I'm an author, editor, publishing professional. I help you make your writing better. Information about how to submit will be at the end of the video, but please remember there's a real live person on the other side of this, so be nice to them in the comments and don't tell them to just self-publish. While We Were Working is a dual POV contemporary office romance complete at 65,000 words. It blends the funny shenanigans of Netflix's Set It Up and the emotional impact of Olivia Dade's At First Spite. So this one is, I think you can get away with, you've got a comp title here, and then you are using this as part of a pitch, but like rom-coms are evergreen. I don't need to know a whole lot about comps. You don't need to convince me that there's a market for this. There's always a market for rom-coms. Despite her best efforts to quell her anxiety brain, Valerie Coleman shows up a full hour early to her first day at Pupil, a scholarship search site company. She paces the Minneapolis skyways to remind herself this job will be different. She will make a friend here. The daughter of neglectful workaholic parents, opening up to is not Valerie's first instinct, but when she meets her first coworker, a boy she'd ogle at a oogle? Ogle, I don't think that's spelled right. She realizes friendship might not be all she wants. Okay, so I guess you didn't technically say this was going to be a rom-com, but you did say funny shenanigans, and then that none of this is funny. This is a little on the heavy side. So we've got anxiety brain that we are definitely not conquering. We are in a city that's pretty well known for being like snowy and dare I say maybe drab. Sorry, I live in a very sunny place, so I associate snowy places with being kind of like cold and dark a lot. She's struggling economically. She's got abusive parents in the background. This all feels not funny and not shenanigans. Despite his best efforts, Noah Hernandez has quit every job he's ever had. It doesn't help that his prodigal siblings, why did I trip over that? His prodigal siblings are winning NCAA volleyball championships, securing prestigious political internships, and rehearsing their orchestra solos. Finding his own thing turns out to be much harder than Noah thought. He is sure, just like he was for his last 10 jobs, that data analyst at Pupil will stick. So this makes him sound really young because we are still competing with like college age siblings. So these people might be quite young. But when we're like, I'm jealous of my brother's sports things, it reads really, really young. It also doesn't sound funny either. So either you're going to have to change the pitch up at the top and not get me excited about funny if you're going to be this heavy, or you're going to have to rethink the way that you are pitching some of these things. You can pitch heavy, dark things in a funny way. This is very show, don't tell. Don't tell me that you're funny, just be funny. When Valerie gets the opportunity to spearhead an important marketing strategy project, her boss suggests she pair up with Noah for the best chance of persuading the CMO. Noah jumps on board to prove his worth to himself. Well, he got assigned. He's not jumping on board. He got assigned. The boss said, you two have to work together. Valerie's brown eyes might sweeten the deal too. As their project presentation looms closer, Noah enjoys his work more and more, just as long as he doesn't face any failures along the way. So I keep harping on this, but you said it was going to be funny. Just as doesn't face any failures along the way, Valerie falls more and more in love with Noah just as long as she doesn't have to open up too much. Well, that's it. Okay, so who is our main character? So it's Valerie and Noah. What is it that they want? Here we have them wanting to do good at their new jobs, but you sold this as a romance. What are they willing to do to get it? They're going to work hard at their new job and do what they were assigned to do. What is standing in their way? They previously have not done good at jobs, and so they're both scared they're not going to do good. And what happens if they fail? Nothing. They don't seem to be facing any consequences for their previous failures. So nothing is at stake here, and you have not given me romance stakes. You have given me workplace, and they might do some kissing along the way. So, and you said it was going to be funny, and then you didn't give any funny. You've got some like lighthearted wording a little bit here at the end, of like eyes might sweeten the deal. But if you're either pitching this incorrectly, or you haven't written the thing that you thought you wrote. I have a BA in creative writing from Beloit College. I was an editorial intern at Greenspring. I made a previous publication. Okay, so these are actually some very impressive credentials. You do not have to have credentials like these to be able to publish in fiction, but this is a very impressive author bio. So we've got an education that is related from a good college here. We've got previous publications from like places that actually are competitive and pay you. We've got an honorable mention in a contest. and then while we were working, so I assume that's like a play on while you were sleeping. So this is a very impressive author bio. And if you look at While You Were Sleeping, since that's the title that I think you're giving a play on here, like that also has a similar, like the main character is carrying around some heavy stuff. She's desperately lonely. Her father died recently. Her mom died when she was a kid. That movie, that story could be pitched in a very dark and heavy kind of a way. She tells a lie to ingratiate herself with this family that she has admired from afar, and she gets kind of in over her head. You could pitch this in a way that feels very heavy and very somber, but it's not. It's very light, it's very fluffy, it's very fun. It's one of my favorite holiday movies. But it gets pitched as, like wacky hijinks, like she accidentally told a lie and the hospital thinks that she's engaged to the guy she has a crush on that she doesn't know, right? Like, and the marketing for it focused on like the pencil in the back pocket thing, and he doesn't remember he remembers his favorite ice cream flavor but not her, and like they knock over the stuff when they're delivering furniture, right? Like the marketing for it leaned on the comedy, on the light side of it, and then all of this other character depth was revealed through the course of the story. They didn't come out leaning into like, this woman is desperately sad and lonely and will do anything for companionship, even though that's kind of true. So you're framing the story in a way where you said it was going to be funny, and then you gave us lots of really heavy stuff. I recommend, if the story really is funny, be funny out here and let this feel like layering, like complexity as we move through the story. Your query letter can never encapsulate everything about your story. There should be things that are delightful surprises along the way for the reader. They should be able to dive into your book and be like, oh, I wasn't expecting all of this depth and complexity and emotional stuff, and I am finding myself really attached to this character and wanting to root for her, and I thought it was just going to be like, you want there to be more, not confusing pitch. So if you want to submit to have this done, the information on how to do so is in my link tree in my bio, no matter where you are viewing this. You can do this for, like I said, for free out here publicly. The line for this gets pretty long. If you do not want to do this publicly, I have an editing business in which I do 3 rounds of editing on a query letter, and this can be done in private for you. If you don't want to wait for that very long line, or if you don't want to do this publicly, I have a class that you can teach yourself this entire process. It's 3.5 hours worth of content for only $30. You can buy it in the series button on TikTok or on Patreon under the collections. You do not have to be a paying member of Patreon to be able to access that. It goes through query letter synopses, opening pages, like some organizational systems, navigating some query etiquette, some tricky situations, and it has before and afters of query letters of clients that have gone on to sign with agents or with publishers. And like I said, it's about the cost of an add-on workshop at a writing conference, but you don't have to travel and you can do it on your own time.